Good afternoon. My name is Su-Ling Ching, and I'm the President and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. Thank you for joining us either live or by watching the recording to learn more about an initiative that we believe is critically important to the future of our community and to our country. Yesterday, in collaboration with the City of Ottawa and with the support of Mayor Jim Watson, we relaunched the Post Promise in Ottawa. People Outside Safely Together is a national, bilingual, private sector-led initiative designed to help Canadians confidently shop and work during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ottawa Board of Trade mission is to create prosperity through advocacy, collaboration, and leadership. We work in the interests of all businesses in our region, all sizes and sectors. And we have been focused these last 18 months on advocating at every level of government for programs and policies that ensure our public health and drive economic growth. To that end, we are focused on maintaining an environment that allows businesses to stay open and thrive, including small business support, rapid testing, and addressing vaccine hesitancy, just to name a few. We have identified a rising need to bolster consumer and employee confidence as part of our Ottawa recovery and rebound strategy. And the Post Promise is a perfect way for all of us to do that. I'm so pleased to be joined today by two dynamic leaders. First, welcome Goldy Hyder, who's the President and CEO of the Business Council of Canada, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization representing the chief executives of Canada's leading businesses. Welcome, Goldy.
Thank you so much for having me, Su-Ling.
Thank you for being here. And we're also pleased to welcome Laura Hearn, who's the President and Executive Director of Post Promise, which is the not-for-profit corporation leading the private sector-led initiative in collaboration with the government. Goldy and Laura, thank you for joining us today and for all the work that you've been doing over these past months to support our business community and set us up for a strong economic recovery. It seems like, I think it was just a year ago almost that we were here the first time before we even knew about anything about a second or third wave. But I know that we're really excited to be here again and update our business community on what we've been working on. So Goldy, perhaps I could start with you. Can you share with us what is the Post Promise and why did we first create it and why is it important to relaunch it now?
Well, Su-Ling, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with you and thank you for the question. But before I respond to that, let me thank you and the Ottawa Board of Trade for your leadership. Throughout this exercise, you were early adopters. You saw the importance and the opportunity to serve your membership, to serve the Ottawa business community and the city at large. And I want to thank you for that, as well as all levels of government. We're very fortunate that, you had the launch yesterday with the City of Ottawa. The provincial government, when it was first launched last year, it endorsed the need for a Post Promise. And most recently, for the last year, we've been working with the federal government very closely, but they've come in with a financial support that allows us to have young people throughout this country promoting the program. And I'm sure Laura will talk about that. So I want to give credit where credit is due. It's really to you and to our governments that have recognized that this is very important. In terms of your question, you're right, it's a relaunch. I guess we were a little bit ahead of our time last year when we were thinking, hopefully, the worst was behind us after our first lockdown. The lesson of last year really is that, frankly, it's actually kind of easy to lock down. The hard part is to restart. And that's what we've all learned over the course of the last year. And that's the lesson, I think, that we're trying to make sure we learn from and not have to do all over again, because I think, and I'm hoping that we all agree that the worst should be behind us now. The people of Canada, but particularly the people of Ottawa, have gotten vaccinated at record levels and record numbers. That gives us a sense of confidence. And people are ready. They want to go back outside, but not everybody's ready. There are a lot of people who remain afraid. And I don't begrudge them or blame them, because for a year they were hearing that if they stepped outside, they might die. And you can imagine the impact that would have on some people. We've got to reprogram and recondition them to realize that it is now safe and that businesses in particular are going to do everything that they can to keep their employees safe and to keep their customers safe. And it goes without saying that the duty of any employer, with or without a pandemic, is safety and well-being of their people both their employees and their customers. So this is just another way for businesses to reinforce that even with the pandemic still going on, and let's be clear, it's not over and not going to be over for a while. I think the theme is we're actually going to have to coexist with COVID. One way of doing that is to reinsure the public that we're doing our part as businesses, large, small, everything in between, to provide you a safe experience when you visit our premises. And that is really at the core of Post-Promise and Après Promise en Français. So maybe Laura can jump into the details, but that's the core of what we're trying to do and why we think now is particularly relevant as we get ready for back to school and hopefully some kind of back to work as Labor Day approaches.
Thank you very much. So Laura, maybe you can share with us, how does a business make the promise and what are the key elements of it?
Absolutely. And I would just like to echo Goldy's words in terms of thanking you, thanking the city, the Ottawa Board of Trade, just for your incredible support, almost literally since day one. So it's been very important to the initiative. So thank you. And thank you for having me back here again. So it's really straightforward. Businesses go to our website, which is postpromise.com, and they commit to following 5 key actions, which we developed in consultation with the Public Health Agency of Canada. And these steps are: encourage vaccination, wear a mask and practice safe physical distance when required, screen for COVID, and implement cleaning and preventative measures. And I will say that anyone who is watching this and who learned about the Post-Promise when we launched, these steps have recently evolved to remain current and relevant. And I think that's really an important thing to stress. So, you know, as an example, when we first launched, well before, you know, the vaccination was on the horizon, we didn't mention vaccinations, but we do see this as a critical component to safe reopening. And so we've added encourage vaccination as one of our key elements. We've also put some caveats around some of the language in regards to wearing a mask and practicing safe physical distance, because we know that those things will differ depending on, you know, where you live in the country, and we are a national program. And so it was really important that we still had steps that would ensure safe environments, but that could be applicable to all different jurisdictions where the rules may be slightly different. So once a business goes and agrees to follow those steps, which quite frankly, they're probably already doing if not above and beyond that, they are able to join the thousands and thousands of businesses that are already proudly displaying the Post-Promise word mark. And what that word mark is, it's the Post-Promise P, we call it. It's a hexagon shape, and it really acts as that common and consistent visual cue on a national scale to let customers and employees know, when I am walking into this shop, when I'm eating at this restaurant, when I'm working out at this gym, or when I'm going to work in the local bank, that I am going to be safe. And so the other thing I just want to add is, when the board first came together, it was really meant to support all businesses, particularly our small and medium-sized businesses, who we know in particular have faced tremendous challenges since the onset of the pandemic. So there is no cost to make the Post-Promise, and it's remained a very important component of the program since we did launch.
Thank you, Laura. And I know that you have created these elements in strong consultation with health experts as well. And so we appreciate the care and concern that you have exercised in developing it. And I will share with you, we were an early adopter, and part of the reason why was because we had identified this as an issue back in the first summer of this, and we're looking at creating an Ottawa only solution. And we're so thrilled for your leadership in creating a national solution, because as our economy does continue to open, this will be something that will be important to us for a long time to come. So, Laura,
can I
yes.
just add one to your last point? Let me just say that if, as Canadians, I think one of the things that has frustrated us in this experience that we've just lived through is the lack of consistency. The fact that, the conflicting advice, the conflicting approaches, and all of that stuff. We're hoping that the post-promise can maybe be that breakthrough moment where we can actually do something together. That is clear and understood, as I said, in French and in English, so that people, whether they're in Ottawa or on their way driving to Toronto, but stop off in Kingston and then get to Toronto and say, oh, I saw the same post-promise size in Kingston, and I saw the same one in Toronto, and then I'm on a flight to Calgary, and I saw the same thing when I landed at the airport in Calgary. Subliminally and psychologically, it has a powerful effect on us to say, we're going to beat this thing, and we're going to do it together, and we're going to work hard. That is something that I think has been lacking to some extent. This could be one of those things that we might look back on and say, well, that brought a lot of Canadians together to work together to overcome the obstacles that we still face. As I said, COVID's not over.
No, for sure. Thank you, Goldy. Now, Laura, we were first interested in it as a way of supporting businesses who were demonstrating that they were responsible and following protocols and making sure everyone was safe. So what would you say are the benefits, direct benefits to businesses, and how can they leverage this initiative?
Well, I think that the biggest benefit, in my opinion, is what Goldy spoke about, is that it is that common approach. So this is not meant to replace what businesses are already doing, either because, they've come up with enhanced processes on their own or to align with local mandates. What it's meant to do is bring all businesses together, regardless of size and region and sector and language, together, moving in the same direction. And so, if you think about it, another example that I often use is like a TripAdvisor stamp of approval. We just know what it means. And so the benefit is I'm seeing it in so many places. And I really the fact that Goldy highlighted that the strongest benefit that we have, in my opinion, is we are national in scope. And when I look at the thousands and thousands of businesses that have made the post promise, it really is everywhere. So if I'm traveling, whether within my own province or if I'm going to other provinces, I'm seeing it when I'm away from home. And I think that is really a strong aspect of driving consumer confidence. And the other thing that I want to say, another benefit, is that it doesn't, I mean, it's great if businesses commit to this, but it's just as important, if not more important, for businesses to let their customers and employees know that they've committed to it. And so we do everything that we can to equip businesses with the tools they need to let their customers and employees know that they've made this commitment. So we do things like provide sample social media copy, certainly printable signage and email templates, and even, FAQ sheets for employees. We want our businesses to let their networks and let their communities know that they are part of the post promise. And I think that's really at the heart of what we think needs to happen. If we can make people feel safe, then that's going to drive confidence, and that's going to allow businesses to not only reopen, and this is a line that I often hear from Goldy, so I'm taking it, he probably would reference it later, but it's no longer enough to reopen, you have to stay open. Yeah. And that's what, in addition to all the tremendous important vaccination efforts that are happening right now, this is a tool for businesses to stay open. And so that's really what I think is the biggest benefit for businesses.
I appreciate it. Well, we've all been in response mode over these last few months, these 18 months. But Goldy, I know that you've definitely turned your eye to what our recovery will look like as well. And I thank you for that work and that leadership. How important is a program like this to the recovery and rebound strategy for us?
Well, it could be quite critical for the reasons that Laura identified. I mean, imagine if you are walking down Spark Street and you start seeing these, the logos and insignias popping up in a restaurant, but the one restaurant beside it doesn't have it. It could be a competitive advantage to some extent and a motivator to the one who doesn't have it to say, why are they getting all the business? If we can do something that is going to get people out, get them out and about. You might have developed habits of, I can do everything online or this or that, but I'm a firm believer that human nature, we're creatures of habit. I don't know about you, but I've enjoyed getting out for lunches with people, safely giving them a hug or shaking hands. People are yearning to get back out. And if this is a tool that encourages people to do that, we think it's going to be very, very critical to a safe restart, but as Laura rightly said, to prevent future lockdowns as well. So to me, you've heard us stress this message. Obviously, the best thing we can all do is get vaccinated. We have an abundant supply of vaccines. There should be no reason people who are eligible to get vaccinated shouldn't get vaccinated. That is going to help confidence more than anything else, quite frankly, is knowing that our population is getting vaccine at the level that we are. So that's why we support the This Is Our Shot campaign or Faster Together or whatever. There's so many campaigns, but in that case, This Is Our Shot is what I always remember. It's great to make sure we do that. But it still means people are going to need to feel safe when they're actually physically out somewhere, right? So whether it's riding the subway, and I spoke with the mayor about these things, saying, look, people are going to want to be mobile. They're going to want to know that it's okay to sit on a subway if we can confirm that people are vaccinated or we're maintaining our distance, whatever those rules are. The same thing applies for businesses. People are going to go back to the malls. They want to go have a coffee with their friend. They want to actually try something on. These are things that we can make possible. And if Post helps bring that about, that's going to be key. I mean, the real gist of this is it's about that soft thing called confidence. You can't stipulate it. You can't, regulate it. You can't mandate it. People have got to feel it. And consumer confidence is the lifeblood of a healthy economic environment. If people don't feel safe for any reason, they're not going to go. And that means the economic consequences are going to be felt. I have said, and you've heard me say, for a group that represents all the people that you indicated I represent, I have felt like for the last 18 months, we have been far more focused and far more concerned about the life and the challenges and the tribulations that SMEs have faced, small and medium enterprises, because you are our customers, you are our neighbors, you are our supply chain. So I'm very worried that in Ottawa, for example, and many major capitals around this country, there seems to be not enough attention being given to the fact that public servants aren't returning anytime soon. There doesn't seem to be any emphasis in our media or otherwise to say, hey, hang on a minute here. If we're all getting vaccinated and people are starting to go back to work, when are you coming back to work? The fact that that's not on the radar is something that I think that the mayor and I think that the premier and the prime minister all should be talking about, encouraging. I know the prime minister said this recently, but actions are what I'm looking for. When are you coming back? Because without some of these buildings in Ottawa being filled up by those folks, as I said, the print shop doesn't make it, the bakery doesn't make it, the dry cleaners, we're running out of dry cleaners here in downtown Ottawa. So we've got to make sure that everybody is required to participate in the restart of our economy and not living comfortably in our own homes, compensated pensions, and doing our work from that. People are going to have to start returning. And if Post helps bring that confidence back, then we hope that that's a trigger to get those people back to work, particularly in our downtowns, which are disproportionately been impacted here during COVID. I think it's safe to say.
Especially in large urban cities.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure. And I thank you for mentioning, your membership, and we're finding that with larger businesses in Ottawa too. I mean, if there's one thing we've realized during this is we're all connected. And so whether you're an SME or a large business, you're in the same economic ecosystem. And we've just had a real life experience of that and what that really means. So I appreciate your work in that. Laura, so exciting news about the advocacy you guys had been doing for a long time to get the federal government to support this program. Tell us a little bit about what your plans are with this support, and what can we expect to see? What does success look like for the Post Promise?
Yes, thanks for the question. And we are, very grateful to the government of Canada for the support, in particular, Minister Ng, who has been such a strong champion for the Post Promise since day one. And the contribution, which was announced a couple of weeks ago, will allow us to exponentially grow awareness, participation, and the impact of the Post Promise in the coming, weeks and months. And, as we talked about, the Post Promise, the vision is that when you are walking down Main Street of any town in this country, you are seeing the Post Promise in every storefront. And so, the only way to get there is by talking and connecting to business owners. And so we are launching 100-city, what we're calling ambassador program activation, where we've hired ambassadors, Post Promise ambassadors, to go out and just to talk with small and medium-sized business owners, let them know that this is another tool, an important tool in their toolkit that they have available to them. And so in tandem with that, face-to-face personal direct outreach, we're also launching a national digital and social media campaign to also get the word out to our business owners that way. And then in tandem, because awareness is important, because we know and we understand that if my customer doesn't understand what the P on my window means, then what value is it? We're also investing in hyper-local, community-based marketing. So things like digital out of home, certainly social media, a lot of digital as well, and just trying to get the words out through our really incredible partnerships that we have all across the country, whether it be with municipalities or chambers or BIAs at the local level. So lots of really, really exciting stuff on the horizon, and it's actually not on the horizon. We launched it a couple weeks ago, and we're already seeing more and more businesses join, again, the thousands of businesses who have already made the Post Promise. We feel that to drive the most impact, we just have to get the message out there and get as many Post Promise signs displayed as possible. And so that's what we're laser focused on achieving in the coming weeks and months.
Well, I thank you for that work. And I did see a huge bulletin at the Ottawa airport. It was so exciting to see that. I want to take this opportunity perhaps just to say thank you to our own City of Ottawa, who have supported us and are working with us to relaunch this in Ottawa. We are also really keen on engaging businesses, and we have, through your help, Laura, acquired 1,000 kits that are sitting in Ottawa as we speak, and that are ready for our businesses to pick up and to use once they've made the promise. And again, we also will be supporting and working with you to leverage your campaign on making sure that our consumers understand what it means and why it's important. So we thank you for your partnership. We thank you for the leadership of the City of Ottawa as well. So just some final words, maybe, Goldy, about any final thoughts on this program or the next steps for our recovery, from the perspective of our businesses, from our consumers, particularly from our leaders and their opportunity to demonstrate leadership in making sure that we all create an environment in which we stay open and live with COVID while keeping everyone safe.
Well, look, I think we should acknowledge that, as a society, we've been through a lot. But what we've also shown is resiliency. We're Canadians. We've come together to do what we are told to do, to try and do the right thing. But we're exhausted and we're tired of this, and we want to turn the page on it. It's not going to go away just because we want it to. It's going to go away because we do the right things. And so from vaccinations to taking the Post Promise, there are examples of ways in which you can reclaim lost territory thanks to COVID and say, you know what, I'm back. And I think what I know about businesses is they want to do business. They're not looking forward to accumulating more program relief or more debt, God forbid. They just want to get back to doing what they do, which is doing business and greeting their customers and providing that experience and that opportunity. So I think this is a seminal moment. I think we're turning the corner here. I do think the worst is behind us. There's always risks. We don't know about variants and all, but again, what's the best way to mitigate risk? Take your vaccine, follow the post promise, and you're able to give that confidence, which, as I keep saying again and again, underlining it, that's the key here. We're really trying to build it back. And I think that it's available. The public wants to have it back. This is a way to show them that businesses are going to do everything that they can to earn the public's trust and to make sure that their experience is safe and secure. So I'm excited by what I think is possible and what Ottawa could look like in the coming weeks and months. And I wish everybody out there well, because I can only imagine what a ride it's been. But as I said, I think the worst is behind us. So let's be hopeful and optimistic about the future.
Well, thank you. I know that we started this initiative in partnership with a lot of national partners, including the major chambers across Canada and the Retail Council of Canada and many others, and you were a leader in that, so I thank you. And I want to say locally, aside from the City of Ottawa, we have been working with the Mayor's Economic Task Force and have created a really comprehensive recovery and rebound plan, and this is a big part of it as well. And specifically, I'd like to say thanks to the Ottawa BIAs, because they have agreed to help us distribute as well and to spread the word. So I look forward to seeing both of you again soon, hopefully in person very, very soon. And again, I appreciate your leadership, and we look forward to a strong recovery in Ottawa.
Thank you. Be well.
Thank
everybody.
you. Be
Thank you
well.
so much.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Goldy.